one of the things that happens when you come from a very large family is that I am number six of seven. And by the time I came around, my parents had been through it all. They knew everything. So we had a back to school night in third grade. And that was my first year in a public school. I'd been at Catholic school for first and second grade. And we made a leaf and we put our parents' name on the leaf with clay and we painted it and all the schoolwork we were going to do. And I came home and I said to my mother, "Oh, you're going to love Mrs. Harrower. She is the best teacher." And I have all my stuff and we made all this stuff for back to school night for the parents. And my mother said, "Nancy, I've had six kids go through third grade. I know exactly what, I'm not going to back to school night." Now I'm devastated. I'm like, my teacher is going to know that my mother doesn't really care about me, which I know, but she doesn't know. So now I'm going to be embarrassed in front of the teacher. So my father comes home from work, and he was a lawyer at the time, and he could tell I was very upset. He said, "What's the matter, Nan?" And I said, "Well, Mommy's not going to back to school night, and I made all this stuff, and now the teacher's going to know that nobody cares about me because no one's going to back to school night." And he doesn't say much. And then after dinner, he got up and put his coat on. And I said, "Where are you going?" And he said, "I'm going to back to school night." I said, "You're going to back to school night?" I couldn't contain him. I couldn't wait for him to come home. And he came home and he said, "Oh, I talked to Mrs. Howard. She thinks you're doing great." And the next day I went to school. And in all the books where they said, the teacher must have said, "We're working on page 13 in the math book," my father wrote something funny inside every page we worked on. So there was a little note for me. He wrote on my desk, which I was like, "Oh my God, you're not even supposed to write on the desk." When my father was dying, and he had congestive heart failure, and it was actually quality time that I spent with him because I took care of him in the end. And I said to him, "Do you remember back when I was in third grade and you went to see Mrs. Howard in the back to school night? It was like, here I am 45 years later and I still remember that." He said, "I did? I don't remember." I said, "Isn't it funny? You don't remember." And I never forgot.